Hello, everybody. It's Shelley GPC here again from Strong Future Gens. And it's my joy tonight to have a really interesting gentleman with me. And he's going to be sharing his life story. And I trust that you will enjoy it as much as I did while I spoke to him. So, Thomas Hadebe, welcome. Please, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us where you're from?
Hi, Shelley, and to your viewers and everyone who gets to watch these clips as you do a good job. My name is Thomas Hadebe. I would give you the other two Zulu names, but they would be too long for you. So, yeah, yeah, I think I'm still a young guy. I'm in Zululand, Newcastle to be exact, in the KZN area, and yeah, I'm married to one wife and I've got three girls, beautiful girls. The boys didn't want to come along, so I ended up giving up on them.
And your
Yeah.
your beautiful girls, Thomas. I know one has completed her studies and she's done a BCom degree. Am I right?
I think that's what they've done. You know, really, today these things are too much, and I just say to them, do what you want to do. I'll support. But she's finished a degree in business management. I don't know, whatever,
Okay.
whatever. It's quite an embroidered thing. And yeah, that's the one. The other one is still busy with something to do with beauty and skin therapy. There's a word that she used for that, and I've never gotten to understand it, and I don't bother myself.
You just dad and you just pay.
I have to. That's what I do because I say to myself, if I get to understand what it is, I might then end up changing them and say, why don't you do this? And they end up doing what I would have loved to do. And then they are living my life. So I just say, what do you want to do? How does it happen? Is there payment involved? Okay, I'm paying. And can you leave at the end of it all? You'll be able to leave for yourself. And they say
Yeah.
they will be able to make money and leave and be out of my pocket. Praise the Lord. I'm paying very quickly then.
Thomas, I think you said something really wise there, which I'd like to just sort of pull out a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
I think we all, as parents, want our children to succeed, and we can force
Yeah.
them into studying or force them into a direction that we want them to go in, and not as
Mm-hmm.
something that is their own passion or their own desire. And I think it's important for us as parents, wouldn't you agree, that we realize that they're different?
Yeah. I think maybe from growing up, basically, our environment when we grew up, it always was your dad or your mom wants you to be something that when she mentions your name, your community is like they respect your parent because their son is this, that, and the other.
Mm.
He's the lawyer, he's the doctor, So you ended up having to do that even if you didn't want to. Maybe you just wanted to be a mechanic. You
Yes.
couldn't be a mechanic because it's like, no, man, a mechanic, be a doctor, be a lawyer. So coming from that environment, I vowed and said I would just allow my kids to find out in life and
Mm.
what they want to do. And when that is it, I definitely will ask questions. I will provoke. I will prod and do all that. But as soon as I found out that they are set, they've got it all together, I will just support,
Oh, that's
put in
excellent.
money. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's excellent, Thomas. Really sound advice for us as
Mm.
parents. Now, I have had the pleasure of talking to you a little bit, and when I hear you talking about your girls and where they're going with their careers, I must take you
Yeah.
back to when you were a young man, growing up in a
Oh.
community, and having. Well, let me ask you this question: what was in your mind as to what you wanted to do when you were 16?
Really, I'm laughing because it's yeah, it's weird what you think when you grow up and what makes an impression on you and you want to emulate that. Believe it or not, I grew up around the times of Dallas, the city, the soapy, and my favorite guy was J.R. Ewing. He was a master manipulator. I mean, that guy was just, yeah. So
He was
that was my
evil.
life. Well, I mean, now looking back, it's like, how could I have wanted to be that? But I wanted to live a life where I never wanted to go to work, number one, in terms of like being employed and that. I just knew that I can live a life of, I'm good at manipulating people, I'm good at threatening people. So I actually can live a life that the politicians are living today in South Africa. I think that was more or less the life. And of course, during the evenings, the nights, we get the intel, we hijack a truck, you know. I always have had the leadership quality about me, influential, always drawing people around me. So you go out, send the guys, hijack a truck, sell the stuff, you know, shoot them if we have to. Of course, we don't hijack black people in any case. They don't have money. If you hijack black people, they would cry and your ancestors are going to get you. So you go to the white people. That was the general career, you know. Yeah.
And so,
Blackmail people.
sorry?
As I'm saying, blackmail
Yes.
people, you know, easy money. Find out what you do and the worst thing, and then catch you and then say, you pay me so much for so long, otherwise, you know, that was the lifestyle, basically.
That's an incredible
Yeah.
story because your story doesn't end there, and you certainly didn't participate in that.
Fortunately.
Yeah, you finished school and
Yes.
did some studies, and I'm going to ask you to explain what happened to your life, that it changed so radically that today you serve the community that you came out of as a community leader.
Yes,
You,
yes.
you serve the community by being a principal in a really well-run school, and you're a church pastor. So I
Yeah.
don't know how manipulation and hijacking and blackmail, I don't think anything fits into that mixture any longer. Um,
Yeah.
what's changed for you?
You know, Shirley, growing up, I think the best thing that ever happened to me was getting to know Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I can say that hands down without any fear of being contradictory or being misunderstood or all that. That's what changed me in terms of, I still am a leader, I'm still influential. And I think you get born with those things. It's just that when the Lord came into my life, things changed. And then I found out that actually I can do all these things and bring glory to the Lord. That's what changed. And the beauty of it all is I got saved not because there was a tent and it was an evangelist somewhere, and not that it's bad when it happened that way. I was just by myself, growing up in a Christian environment, a church mouse, having all this while at church, but not saved, not having that relationship. And on an odd occasion, I remember I read a small little book by Kenneth E. Hagin, An Interceding Christian. Changed my life around,
Mm.
changed my life around. Stop smoking Zol, stop. I mean, basically. And here I am now. As
Yeah,
they would say, the rest is history. Yeah.
that's that. You know, those are incredible stories, and I love to hear how people have just turned because they've had an encounter. Thomas, you perhaps now affect a community far more than you perhaps would have had the opportunity to if you had stayed on your original idea of what you were going to do. You've affected this community positively. And just tell us around a little around your school, how it started, perhaps how many kids you've got, that kind of thing.
Yes. See. You know, it's interesting. I'll just go back maybe to about 14 years ago. I never thought I would be involved with education. All I knew was God has called me and I'm a minister, I'm available, and I always would do whatever I want and I'm asked to do, and I'll do it to the best of my ability and give my all. And about 14 years ago now, I was asked in a church that I was in to come and be involved in a school. They were running this school, an independent school. That's when I even knew that there was something like independent school. To me, it was you go to school, your community school, public school. I got to know that now later as I get involved. I never knew about independent school. So I got then involved. I'm a supervisor, I'm a monitor, and all that. 2 years later, probably because of the leadership qualities that I had, this school I was in, it was a church school, had a satellite school that was having problems and all that. And by then, I'm a church leader among the leadership of the church in that where the school was. And they asked me if I could go. And this school I needed to go to was in a location. As you know, in South Africa, in our place, we have the town and then you have the location, where generally with the development earlier on, that's where Black people will be at. And this school had been planted there by this church that was in town, affluent area. So I went there just to help because they were in trouble and it was not happening properly. And the rest is history. Here I am now, I'm involved, and the school is now autonomous. I'm the vision bearer of the school, I'm running it. It's registered with the government, registered as an NPO. And I would like to believe that we're doing a good job in terms of developing the community, the youngsters, and giving them hope. Because I've subsequently understood that the solution to our problems in South Africa it has to be with education. It lies with education. If people can be educated and understand, not that they go to school, because some people go to school but they don't get educated. They don't learn. They come out with a paper that said they've been to school, but that's the only thing you see. And that's the frustrating thing with me. So I'm on this mission to say, let people be educated. I think somebody said, it was Martin Luther, the American Martin Luther, who said, as it goes with the school in this generation, so it goes with the government in the next generation. Mm. So that has been the thing that moved me into saying, you know what, if I can influence the young people at school today, then there is hope for my pension in the next generation. That's no right. One's going to be taking my pension, or I will be taken care of. I will be protected. I will not be handled the way our parents are being handled today by people in authority.
Thomas, I think, it is so important what you've just said. For us as an older generation, to really input and to impress in a younger generation, because they will be our leaders. They will be the ones who are going to be in leadership when, as you say, we're in retirement or sitting with our pensions and things of that nature. So it's most important that we encourage them, that we shape them, I think there's an important thing, Thomas, that we teach them how to think, not what to think.
There you go. There you go. I think of late, I've been having this thing, and I'm even provocative on WhatsApp statuses and Facebook sometimes. I'm saying most of us cannot think critically.
That's right.
And I am on this mission, even as a leader of a school, to say, let the children that come out from our school, they may not be doctors, they may not be high-profile people, but they can think critically and be the community and the citizenry that reasons, that can unpack a thing and look at it. And as they carry on in their mechanical field or in their business field or in their entrepreneurial field, they are involved in that from the basis of they can think critically, not being told what to think and being influenced, but they can take whatever a leader is saying, unpack it and say, no, but this is wrong, and be able to flat right, refuse it without feeling like they will be now put in a corner or whatever. Have that freedom. Education brings about freedom. That's freedom to think, freedom to belong, freedom to live your life.
I think it also brings responsibility.
Exactly. I agree with you.
Each one of us needs to be responsible for that which we have in our hands. So it's your responsibility to the community through your education and through the church. To the man who's the mechanic, he needs to be responsible to the community by using what he has got for the very best of the community. And when I say community, I'm not talking particularly in South Africa. about colors, but the community of people around about us, wherever we might find those people.
Yeah.
Thomas, obviously this just didn't happen on its own. I understand that you had this incredible encounter, but were there people that journeyed with you along this journey and actually helped you? You know, there must have been somebody that just came alongside you like you're doing with the kids at school.
A lot, a lot. I would like to believe that I am a product of a whole lot of people that have come across my path. Some, when we were relating, it may have been negative and painful, but that experience has made me who I am, you know. And you know, just off in the school, when I was still at school, there was a teacher they called Mr. Shabalala. His nickname was Stimela. People may not know or understand it, but that's it. That guy helped me understand the purpose of education. Even whether you get to university or what, he influenced me in that. That's about the only teacher in my life. There are two teachers who influenced my life and changed me and made me think positively about education. It was him and another sister in a Catholic school where I graduated in St. Louis. It was Sister Tuli. I mean, these two just impacted me. And growing up and moving on, meeting the Lord, coming in the environment of the church, I'm grateful of the people that came across and taught me that I don't need to just be a Christian and bury my head in the sand. As much as I'm a Christian, I am the light, the salt, and all that. I mean, I can count people like there's a gentleman by the name of Joseph Timlet. He's one guy, he's a white guy, as you would tell with the name Timlet. He's one guy because up until then, I've always had people who are insecure. I'm an outgoing guy. I'm very confrontational, opinionated, bordering on being arrogant sometimes. And I've grown now. I'm less arrogant anymore. I would like to believe anyway. But Joseph, I came across him, and he's one guy who walked with me, spoke when I needed to be spoken to, protected when people were accusing me just because I made them feel insecure, you know, those type of things. And of course, preachings overseas, people are being impacted a lot by a guy in terms of ministry now. Guys like Rick Godwin, overseas guy. And of late, the person that has just grounded me has been Tony Fitzgerald. You would know him. He's just set me free in terms of you don't have to seek to be approved. You just are approved. Just do what God has called you to do. Don't do anything to impress people. Just do what you know you need to be doing. And last but not least, it has been your husband. I mean, your husband has just been dynamic. Keith, I mean, I'm forever and indebted to him, because when I was down and out, he's one guy who has just come up with all the, I mean, a lot of hurting things that have come into my life and family. He has just come, grabbed me with his two hands. And being a white guy, that's the weird thing, you know, in this environment where white people are said to be the ones who have robbed us and all that. Here's a guy who has come and has even said things like, you are a leader in your own right. Go out and lead. To find a white guy who's not saying, this is what I'm telling you, who has a humility to say, look, I don't want to be controlling you, but I think this is what God is wanting you to do. I would come up with an idea. He will not even say, yeah, but he would say, I see that in you. You know, having people like those, people who are forever saying, go for it, almost like pushing you from behind, shouting, hey, go, Thomas. He's one of those guys. And right now, he is the guy who's doing that in my life. Yeah.
That's awesome, Thomas, that you had good, strong influence into your life. And the man you are has been almost like a sculpture, you know, chipped and chiseled and cut and changed. And we slowly are seeing the beauty that's within you. But now, Thomas, can I give you an opportunity to speak to two groups of people just quickly? What would you say to teachers? And what would you say to pupils to encourage them? Because you have a very clear understanding of education. It's not just learning. It's having
Yes, yes,
understanding,
yes.
and it's having the wisdom to use what you've learned. So what would you say to a teacher who just goes to work and sees it perhaps just as a job? What would you do to encourage teachers? And what would you say to young people having had those very strange ideas of your own at the age of 16? So
Ah,
where's the wisdom?
ah. I think to teachers, I would say this: teachers need to go back and pick the baton where it was dropped, because teachers at some stage were the scarecrow of families, if you know what I'm saying. In other words, people would say, I will tell teacher so and so. That is how influential the profession was. If teachers can take it back to that, I know that there is a lot of negativity, kids don't want to learn and all that, but if teachers can start to just teach, not concentrate on their self-importance and dignity and all that, that comes with being responsible and being accountable and delivering to kids. And make sure as a teacher that you challenge these minds and you give them space to grow and be inquisitive and be inquiring. That it's not just about saying I've done it because the scheme book or today they are using different terms, but for a year I need to have covered this, so I've done it. If you've learned, you've not learned. Make sure that you create a hunger. It's almost like give these kids salt, enough salt, so that they will go drink. And the salt is information. Give them how to get that information, how to use that information. In the midst of all the turmoil that is existing, turmoil exists. I can't downplay that. But rise above that. Understand that being a teacher is a calling, and you are influencing and influence for the good. And to the student, maybe I would start off by saying things are not what they seem to be as you look at them through your eyes as a student. What do I mean with that? You may not understand it now, but later on, remember these words, because suddenly, when you get at a stage where your eyes open, you'd find out that whatever you thought was is not. I thought it was good to be a gangster, basically. But then I found out that there is a better life than being a gangster. So, as a young person, as a student, don't learn to get a paper that says you passed. I don't care how far you get to learn, but if you learn, you don't have to. It's good if you do go to university, but you don't have to, because there's people who've been to university, and they've got a degree, but that's the last thing you know about them. I mean, they can't think critically. They are not even producing in the community. So as a student, start now to find out who you are, what you think you want to do in life, and start learning toward that. What encourages me a lot is a guy like Bill Gates. I'm told that Bill Gates ended up even leaving and not graduating because this is now me interpreting what was being taught to him at school formally and where he was were two parallel things. He ended up going and doing what he was passionate about. So as a student, make sure that education is for you to be able to live, to be able to read. Read with comprehension. Don't be a grade 12 and you cannot read and understand a document that is put before you to sign. And then you turn up later and say, I didn't see that. Read for understanding and comprehension. Because if you can do that, read for comprehension and understanding, you will live at any level in life, with or without a degree. It's good if you have a degree, though.
Yeah, Thomas, we could talk for so much longer around about some of these really important things. And I'm just so grateful to you that you've spoken about young people finding themselves, finding what they're good at. And it doesn't matter if you're different to somebody else. This is your specific thing. And, I would love to have teachers who are so excited about showing the way, and having a generation of teachers that are just not doing it because it's something you do to get a salary at the end of the month. They are affecting a generation that are going to affect, in our particular situation, South Africa. But obviously there are teachers throughout the world. And I don't say they're not excited and don't have a calling, but I just think there's not enough evidence of that. And so, it's really important. Thomas, we've run out of time, you and I, and thank you so much for being prepared to share something of the passion of your heart, for being prepared to share how your life has journeyed and how you've changed over the years. And to you and your community, I trust that, we will see great growth coming out of it. We'll see well-grounded young people coming out of your area, and that Newcastle won't just be a little town in the Natal Midlands. Is it the Midlands? Just a little bit higher?
Just higher, yeah. Towards
we will see a quality of student coming out of your school that will be a good leader tomorrow and making an impact into their communities. So thanks again, Thomas. We really appreciate that. And have a good evening. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.